Hey guys, you're about to listen to Believe It or Not, and sometimes we say things that, aren't always the nicest.
Yeah, and sometimes we're not experts either because we just Google this stuff.
But you know what? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowed to have opinions, and you're allowed to choose not to listen.
And you're allowed to leave angry comments on our Facebook page.
Please do.
Yeah, but if you do like it, rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
And if you don't like it, please rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
Because you're a good person.
Yeah, it's what someone would want you to do.
I got hymns here. Get them while they're holy. Fresh from God's brain to your mouth.
He's God here in this radio station. Smite me! Almighty smiter!
The Bible is black and white.
I have such doubts.
Get out of here, devil!
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.
And you will know my name is the Lord!
We're on a mission from God.
Hey everybody, welcome to a bonus episode of Believe It or Not. I'm Trevor Pullman.
Believe It or Bonus. I'm Damian Depping.
And this is Believe It or Bonus. We watched a movie.
Yeah.
A movie called The Children Act.
The Children Act. A movie that about the kind of legal ramifications of religious practices. And how that... See, it seemed like it was going to be very heavy on that.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a lot less heavy on that than I was expecting.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I also thought it was going to be about children acting in like a school play, and that never happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I guess this is probably better for what we talk about on the podcast. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was like a very racially, religiously charged children's play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know why I started with racially.
But, that's what it could have been about.
Could have been.
It deals with Jehovah's Witnesses and some of their beliefs and practices. So just a quick little shout out to the people who have commented about the Jehovah's Witnesses episode we've already done. Mm-hmm. So I guess Charles Taze Russell didn't start the Jehovah's Witnesses, according to all the comments.
So CTR didn't do it.
And the Jehovah's Witnesses do claim that, but there's other people who follow his teachings that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses, and they think that they don't agree with Jehovah's Witnesses and are very, very, very vocal about it. So shout out to whoever you are. But we're actually going to talk about Jehovah's Witnesses again, so welcome back.
Primarily within the context of the film that we just watched. The specific instance that this movie was referring to is blood transfusions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how the Jehovah's Witness faith does not allow that.
Yeah, and like how that works when your child needs one.
Yep.
They touched on a lot of stuff in the movie about shunning and what happens if you disobey it, and like...
I know the Jehovah's Witnesses aren't the only ones who practice shunning.
No, they aren't the only ones. They're very good at it, though.
Yeah.
They've mastered it. But yeah, so the movie starts off, and she's dealing with another case. She's dealing with the conjoined twin,
right? Which I thought was an interesting way to start with having to cut a baby in half.
Yeah, so kind of
how biblical.
Solomon. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's conjoined twins. If you basically, if you kill one of them, the other has a chance of surviving. But if you don't, then they'll both die.
Yeah,
and so it's really like a trolley car.
Yeah, do you kill one person?
Yeah,
or
ethics
do you
problem.
Save?
Yeah. Which
it's a tricky. See, with that one though, it's less like kill one or kill three. It's more like. I guess it still is.
Do you
but...
let them both die, or do you save one by actively killing the other? Was kind of like what they were going for.
I feel in that case though, it's not necessarily actively killing, but it's putting forth an effort to try and save at least one of them.
Exactly. And it was. I thought that was a really smart place to start.
We are not ethics lawyers.
No, we
don't know.
No, we are just people for the ethical treatment of ethics.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know what that meant. It's been a long day, folks. We saw a very long
Is that
movie.
just Pete?
Yeah, it's just Pete. people for the ethical treatment of ethics. My name is Pete.
Shout out to Pete.
I also shout out to everybody in the movie theater tonight. You were all great.
I think we were the youngest people there.
Youngest by far, the least white hair, at least
40 years, probably.
Amounts of white hair. I do have a few gray hairs, but not as many as these people. Yeah.
Saw a few walkers.
A few walkers. It took a long time to get out of that theater at the end, but God bless all of you.
They were all crowding for the door. They weren't. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
they were great. So I thought that was a neat place. And then like even their relationship, the movie focused a lot more kind of on the relationship than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I should have kind of got that from the trailer, but
I didn't watch the trailer.
Oh, okay.
To be fair. I was just trusting you, bud.
Yeah.
Trevor said, we're going to watch this movie. We're going to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
A podcast about religion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Trev knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know what? And you let me down.
I don't think I
No, you didn't let me down.
No, they talked about it a little less than I thought, but I still think the way they handled kind of the difference between where, like, well, it was almost like the theme of the movie was where do you get your morality, I felt.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot less to do about the specifics and a lot more to do with the overall kind of idea of what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because it didn't seem to me to be as much of a critique of Jehovah's Witnesses as I thought it might be.
No.
And more of a critique, and more of just using them as that's a good jumping off point to like say like, okay, what happens when your religion tells you something that could put you in danger? And then what do you do when you get to the point where you no longer believe in this structure that gave you all your morals, and how your life kind of goes from there?
Yeah, for me, as someone who never had that, so I never had that problem.
Yeah.
Mine ended up being a lot more about like Emma Thompson's kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Because especially with the whole thing where he comes back later, and I made a note about it maybe like 20 minutes before he said it, but she already had her mind made up before she even went into the case. So it's almost like it almost seemed more of a you need to be cautious when you are so absolute about some of those kind of things where you may be saying like, this is the way it is because I'm right.
Yeah.
And even though it may, make some sort of sense, it's not necessarily the best choice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's,
That being said, I was totally on her side with her.
I think, she, like, even if it...
That kid was fucking nuts, though.
Yeah. Oh, and the fervor and just the passion he had for his religion, it's like, I get that. I've seen people like that. I've kind of been that guy before, where it's just like kind of that blind... kind of like, this is right and I'm going to do right. And there was one scene where he was talking about just picturing his funeral and picturing how sad people would be. And
that was weird.
Yeah, but it's like, it's that martyr complex, right? Like, it's like, I'll give up my life, but I'm going to live on through like...
a glory beyond.
Yeah.
See, because that kind of came about from his arc. I'm not going to say arc because it wasn't really much of one. Because he started that way. When she first came into the hospital, he was already creepily like attached. Like when she
immediately
first walked
attached
in,
to her. Yeah.
And it was very strange because that's what really kind of weirded me out about him right from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, if he kind of developed it a little less abruptly, I think I would have been a little more interested in him.
Yeah,
but because it was like right from the beginning.
From the way, like it wasn't like a progression of over time. He saw her as like kind of a teacher, and then kind of fell
it just seemed like right at the beginning. It was just like, hey, I'm dying. I kind of want to fuck you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, excuse me, you're 17.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really interesting.
But I wonder if that's what it was kind of supposed to be. I think that might even be part of, she was dealing with the whole thing with the Tucci.
Yeah.
So the Tucci, he was another thing too. That was another moral ambiguation on what his stance with things were as well.
Yeah.
As far as relationships go.
Yeah, that was really weird because, like, I get having that conversation of, okay, we're not sexually active anymore.
Yep.
Do we want to explore... Like, would you be comfortable with this, or is there another thing, like, can we get that back? He didn't really do any of that, like, walking around it. He just said, I want to have an affair, and I specifically know who I want to have an affair with.
Yeah.
And then he felt like he was taking the moral high ground the whole time, and...
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, the thing about that is, I don't necessarily think that he had the moral high ground, per se, but it was also one of those things where... it seemed, from what we saw in the film. So let's contextualize. Yeah. So the movie starts with the trial, and then the trial ends, and she comes home, and she's obviously super busy judge.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And she's like, "No, I'm busy." He's like, "Hey, what about this?" And she's like, "No, I'm busy."
Yeah.
And then we kind of see a few scenes, and then finally he's just like, "I want to have an affair."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What? What's going on?" So the whole thing about that, I think. Like you said, he didn't have an affair before then. Yeah. He hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
And he was being very upfront about what he was doing. Yeah. Why he was doing it. Yeah. It seemed to be something that, I mean, as much as it might be a misuse of trust and a misuse of that kind of thing, it seemed that it was something that was such a long time coming that if he didn't do anything about it, then it probably would have ended up worse.
Yeah. And maybe that was, in his mind, it was like, this is the only way I can get her attention.
That could have been it as well. I'm not saying what he did was necessarily right. Yeah. But I understand the process that he got to that point.
Yeah. And I think it also just goes back to, like, where we get our morals, because, like, I think she just had to deal with the fact that, you know, it's just, when you're married, and that's the way it is. Yeah. And there's no swaying from that or whatever. And she had kind of this ideal in her mind about what marriage was, and I think...
Or what it should be.
And then, so where do you get... So what's right and what's wrong in that? Like, do you... I don't know.
I will say, though, too, the other side of it as well, he did go off for, like, 2 days. Yeah. And then he was right back. Yeah. And he kept trying. Like, he kept trying to reconcile this. So he did something kind of shitty, but he was doing everything he could, I feel, to try and get that dialogue going. Yeah. Because even before he did, he tried to get a dialogue going. Yeah. And she would not. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, how is that any different in times when someone just cheats and then they come back and apologize?
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah.
It's the same kind of idea, except I don't necessarily think that's right either. But
yeah.
What's the saying? It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah, I've had many bosses who've told me that. Yeah,
I don't know. That's such a weird.
Yeah,
I think that's such a contextual kind of thing to say.
Yeah,
it really depends what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What else? What else do we got about this movie?
Oh, let's get to the issue about the Jehovah's Witnesses. So the one thing they were saying is that. The soul is in the blood.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if that's accurate for what they believe. I think it's close, but it's more like what the parents were talking about, where it's like the life.
The life essence.
Yeah, but I guess maybe they're one and the same. Like, life is in the blood and the soul is in the blood.
The other thing that I thought was funny, too, is that, and it belongs to God.
Yeah.
So, if it all belongs to God, hear me out. Why is it bad to mix it?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's all his anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's all life force.
It's all God's life force. Yeah. It's all his.
And now you have an opportunity to get more of that life force so you don't die. Yeah. And I don't know.
The other thing too is it's not like you have a blood transfusion and it's there forever. Yeah. You'll make new blood. You'll filter it through eventually.
Yeah. And then it'll be your blood again.
It'll be your blood again.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it's only like temporary.
Have you ever had a blood transfusion?
I have not.
Have you ever given blood?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm a terrible person.
No, I mean...
I should.
I have in the past. It's been a while since I've given blood. I used to more often.
Yeah.
Also, when they put up the blood bag, same blood type as me.
Oh, right.
I'm the universal donor.
My thing is, I had a long-term, not fear, but I hated needles.
Yeah.
I had a lot of dental stuff when I was a kid. Yeah. So I had a lot of face needles. Yeah. So that kind of put me off from them for a very long time.
I had a huge fear of needles when I was a kid, and it was kind of the opposite, where I was sick for a while, and I had to get a bunch of needles, and I just got so used to it that I just stopped caring.
Again, it wasn't enough, and it was all in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it was in the arm a lot, I'm sure I would be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're always getting it in your like face and you don't know why, and then I found out years later it was because I grind my teeth and that's why I was pitting in my teeth and this stuff like that. So it's just like, if I'd have at least known, it contextualizes it. I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
But when you're like 7, 8 years old and you're getting needles in your face, you're not happy about it.
No, you're definitely But I've given blood a few times, and it when he was like, oh man, it just feels like there's somebody else, like I'm drinking somebody's saliva or something. Like it's just gross that there's part of somebody else in me.
So like kissing.
Yeah. What's wrong with kissing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't drink someone's saliva. That's not how it works, really.
With kissing, yeah. That's what I do.
Oh, you just save up all your saliva and then pour it into their mouth?
And then they pour theirs in my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Back and forth forever. That's not what kissing is.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it could be. I'm just going to be one
If that's your way of kissing, please send us an email.
Yeah. Or just hashtag that's my way of kissing.
That's my way. I thought another thing I found interesting was refusing treatment as a test of faith.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, that stood out to me a lot, too. That it was a test, like, because that came up in the courtroom and when they asked the father about it, and he said it's a test of faith. It's like, well, what do you get when you pass that test?
Dead.
You get dead, yeah. And also in that scene where they talked about, and they showed a hint of it earlier, where the elders from the church were constantly in the...
That was really creepy.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, we didn't see a lot of them, and we didn't really see a lot of the family.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting choice, and that's why I think it plays more on the overall morality and less on the...
unspecifically Jehovah's Witness
side of it.
Yeah. It was, that was interesting, too, because I think that is a tactic they use where they will... be right there making sure that you're not. And the Christian Science episode hasn't come out yet, but there's some of that there too, where they'll go to the hospitals and make sure, or they'll go to the people's place and make sure they're not going to the hospital, and they're very...
That's really fucked up.
Yeah. Isn't that... Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah.
That is very, weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm
going to say right here, let kids go to the hospital.
My thing, look at it from this way. Say you're in, I don't know, like a rowing club, and you go rowing twice a week or whatever. Who knows? Okay, and then you get really sick, and you need a cast.
Yeah,
but the rowing club keeps showing up and saying, "It's like you can't get the cast." I mean, it goes against our rowing code.
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That'd be
and
really
they're constantly
weird.
Just making sure you're not getting a cast.
Yeah, they're always there, and they're saying you're doing so good. Don't take the treatment. You're doing so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's messed up.
Now, they said that there was a few instances in the Bible about refusing blood and not being able to. Do you know much about this?
Yeah, well, okay, so... Yeah, they even mentioned in the court case,
like Genesis.
But this wasn't revealed until 1945. It's about drinking blood, and they just thought it was unclean to drink blood. That's really all it was, and I think there was some...
Was there a lot of blood drinking going on? Or is it just a fear of draculas?
Well, some cultures actually, that's how they get their salt intake, is by drinking the blood of the animals, the salt they need.
Blood pudding?
Yeah, blood pudding is delicious. Maybe.
I've never had it.
But
again, I think it's all about the draculas.
But obviously there's no place that says no blood transfusion. So I think what they're referring to more is versus forbidding drinking of blood, and then versus just like poetically saying that like life is in the blood, because that's how they understood. Like when you bleed out a lot, you're no longer alive. It's pretty easy to understand that. Yeah. So like Johnny got stabbed. Johnny's blood went out. Johnny's dead. Or we stopped the blood from coming out, and Johnny's still alive.
Oh, the one thing that I found, we kind of mentioned it, but the idea of where she's like, well, how do you know? And he said, we just know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I find that an interesting concept as well, especially from when you're going between like something where they're saying that there's a religious kind of aspect of morality and what's right and wrong, and then from a more secular kind of point of view.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that people do inherently know what's right and
what's
wrong.
No, yeah, he kept saying that. Like, we know we know this is right and we know this is wrong. It's like, well, I know that rape is wrong. Yeah. I think you know that. I think everyone listening to this knows that rape is wrong. Mm-hmm. But in the moral texts that we like think that people think come from above,
Yep.
The harshest it says is if you rape someone, you have to marry them. You're responsible to marry them. Like in the Bible, it's like you have to pay a certain amount and then you have to marry them. And it's like the 10 Commandments has being nice to your parents, but it doesn't have not raping. And we understood over time that this is a really harsh crime that
it's not a nice thing.
Really damages someone for a long time.
Yeah.
And so we, should know that this is really bad, but I don't think it always was inherently.
No,
I think people saw women as property, and that's wrong, but we didn't get that for a long time. So it's not inherent. Like, I think there's things we learn and we figure out over time.
Of course, a lot of our morality with regards to that is definitely societal. It is definitely learned.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like group learned too. So it's
exactly.
lessons.
Yeah.
It's lessons that have been built up over time. And because you kind of grow up with them, you feel like, oh, I know that to be true because I know. And it's just like, well, no, there was a process to this. Like, we know that we shouldn't, beat your children. You shouldn't, keep slaves.
Yeah,
or,
exactly. Yeah.
People should be allowed to do this and they should be allowed to do that or they shouldn't do this. It's not like something that happened overnight.
Exactly.
It's a give and take.
And even in that conversation too, maybe not the same conversation, but the conversation when he was talking about thinking about his funeral and thinking about how great of a martyr he would be,
that one was later, yes.
Yeah. And she said, where was God in this? Where was God in that, in your thought process? Because it was all I, and he wasn't thinking. It was never about what God wants me to do. It was these pressures he had on him from his family, from his church, and from just himself wanting to look so moral and so dignified, I guess.
But for me, all that showed was that he was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all that showed to me. It didn't show me any kind of necessary ill will or selfishness.
Oh no.
In like a fully fledged kind of I'm doing this because I want to, but more just like you're 17.
Yeah, but then you think about like the fact that they send 17-year-olds on mission trips, and they send 17-year-olds.
Now, mission trips are a whole other thing that I think we should. Have we touched on that at all?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
That would be an interesting topic.
That is definitely something that we should talk about because I think that I think we've talked about it outside of this, but it's definitely something that I feel is a very, very messed up practice.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's a very weird thing that people do still that's it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It's
where you're encouraging children to go overseas to push your religion and help people in disadvantaged situations so that way you have a better in for your moral whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like you go there, you work for free, so like people who are trying to get work don't get work, and the economy hurts as a result. It's messed up.
I've never even heard that side of it.
Yeah,
that's an interesting take on it as well.
Yeah, so a lot of it's pretty messed up.
But again, it's the same way as like colonialism in North America, the whole thing where you're going to help the poor savages who don't know any better.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not how the world works. That's not how things work.
Yeah.
Just because they have something completely different than you does not mean that they are savages. Does not mean that they're wrong.
Yeah,
does not mean that they are these disadvantaged people who haven't been shown the way.
Yeah.
But that comes back to proselytizing and spreading the message, right? That's a pretty inherent part for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses is a great example of that, where it's one of their main tenets, where like you're not a witness if you don't, I guess, witness if you're not going out there and telling people about it,
door to door and all that stuff.
You can't get into heaven on earth, whatever their version of heaven is. You can't get there, right? Unless you're not. Oh, heaven is a place on earth.
So they go door to door.
Yeah,
but they don't like Halloween.
Exactly. Think about that, folks.
Yeah.
Put that in your old pipe.
Do you think if they did it on Halloween, they'd have more luck?
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. Oh, you're going as Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, no, we are Jehovah's Witnesses.
I mean, you get the door open. It's all about getting your foot in the door.
Maybe that's sort of like one day a year off, though.
That's true.
So let's spoiler alert right now and just talk about the ending for a second.
Okay.
There
be spoilers.
Spoilers. The fact that he dies under such the same circumstances as he would have died if she didn't put the injunction in.
Yep.
But almost the opposite circumstance, where the first time it was as a martyr, and the second time it was more him giving up. And I thought that was really interesting.
I see, the thing about it is, I guess it was him giving up, but at the same time it was also the first time he was so resigned for death.
Yeah.
And then that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And when that didn't happen, that tore apart his whole worldview. It tore apart his family view. It tore apart his religious view.
Yeah.
So basically, this kid's whole world was totally upended.
Yeah.
He had no guidance, no direction, which is what he was trying to seek from Emma Thompson's character, which she really couldn't give.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she really shouldn't have had to have given.
No.
Which is another kind of thing that this story was trying to do, is like, where is her place in that? What responsibility does she have?
Yeah,
for him?
exactly. Yeah.
And I think what ended up happening is when the cancer came back and he was in the same situation, he realized that it was such an uphill battle for him to do everything else. I think that he knew that he might be fighting this kind of thing his whole life.
Yeah.
So if he's able to go out on his terms, where he knows that he made the choice, and it had nothing to do with his family and nothing to do with God, but because he wanted to, and he's just like, this is my only true act of free will.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Because I saw it more as like, because she rejected him, she didn't want, to be his like teacher, lover, whatever.
Yeah.
But then, and then he realized he didn't want to. If he stepped back from being Jehovah's Witness, he doesn't want to join another religion because he said it was trading one fairy tale for another. Yeah. And so he kind of gave up his God too. And then he had that fight with his parents and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I see where you're coming from there
it's
too.
It's like waking up in the Matrix, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's like, have you seen? It's kind of a dumb movie, but I really enjoyed it. But have you seen Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene where Paul like headbutts Kristen Wiig and she just sees the universe and like everything changes for her immediately.
Yeah.
She's like super fundamentalist, and then all of a sudden it was kind of like the non-comedic version of that.
But I mean, that's what it was for him. And and it's such a. I think it's something that not everyone will kind of make it through that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But I think his last choice, because he did say it was his.
Yeah.
Was his. It was kind of like the purest form of free will that he could have exercised.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he made the right choice.
Yeah.
I think it was, again, a young boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Making a very, very bizarre and stubborn choice.
Yeah.
And something preventable. But that being said, as far as like a film, kind of like a filmatic device, it was his break from everything that he'd grown up from.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Should we talk for a second about just the movie itself as movie fans?
Yeah.
I thought Emma Thompson's performance was fantastic.
Oh, she was lovely.
Stanley Tucci was great.
The Tooch.
Her assistant, whoever that guy was.
The guy who played Nigel, he was wonderful.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he was such a devoted, wonderful assistant.
Yeah.
Who did everything for her and took so much shit throughout this movie. Yet all he did was help her.
Yeah.
And she never once said
movie,
sorry, never said thank you.
Yeah.
There were so many times where it's just like, just say something to him. This man is amazing.
Yeah, so good. And I don't know, I think it had more false endings than the Two Towers. No,
there definitely
Return
was.
of the King, yeah. It felt like, I don't know, there was something structurally that just got to me.
Well,
like,
when she went to Newcastle, I was just like, oh, I guess we're all done with that whole thing then. And I felt like it was going somewhere completely. And then it brought it back to the kid. But I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just something in that kind of near the end, something could have been a little tighter. I just felt like they needed to bring a script doctor in at some point.
Yeah.
Other than that, I thought it was brilliant.
I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was really, really good. Yeah. I give it five bags of popcorn, and I'll throw in I'll throw in Jehovah's Witness cross, which is
that's a good
just
one.
a pole.
Nice.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not gonna rip off
Tim and Eric. Or no, sorry.
that's on cinema.
On cinema at the cinema. Yeah.
Greg Turkington and Tim Heidecker.
Yeah.
Lovely show.
How many bags of popcorn do you give on cinema at the cinema?
5 bags of popcorn.
Okay.
And 2 Oscar specials.
Oh, great. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. What about this movie?
This one, I quite enjoyed it. Like you said, I think there were some structural things. Again, I was expecting it to be a bit more about the religious aspect of it.
Yeah.
From a film viewer point of view, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it ended up making it a little more relatable, I guess, would be a better way to put it. But I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good movie. It was worth checking out.
Yeah.
Nothing like you're gonna write home about.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Maybe to your grandma. Let your grandma know she'd like it.
A solid film to check out.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know if you want us to do more of these, I guess. This is kind of our second movie review. We did Marjo before, but this is the first one where it's like a newer movie that's kind of out right now.
And also one that's more of just like a movie.
A movie, not a documentary. So let us know if you want more of these or you want less of these. And as always, like, subscribe, call your congress.
And again, it's a bonus episode, so I don't know what you're complaining about. This is more for whoever you are listening.
Oh yeah, and no Christian rock lyric of the week. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you'll have to come back for the real episode to hear that. And if you guys have a song you want to hear,
that's a good idea too. Send us an email.
Why not?
Yeah,
may as well.
Yeah,
get involved.
Get involved, folks.
And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, hope you have a good week.
Work, Sky Moon.